Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing some speed reviews. I'm going to be covering all of the products that I was able to test out and fully formulate a review on during the month of March. There are a few items from February as well. I didn't do a speed reviews for that month just because I didn't really wear makeup that month. So there are quite a few products I want to go through, so I won't keep you guys too long here in the intro. But if you are new here, please consider subscribing. Half of my audience is not subscribed to my channel currently. And if you enjoy these types of videos, please do hit the thumbs up button. I will also link down below the playlist to this series. I do it on a monthly basis now, pretty much. So yeah, if you like this kind of content, I'll link some more below for you to binge if you would like. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump on into the video, you guys. Okay, so first and foremost, let's just go ahead and start with a product that I have tried before, but I haven't used it religiously or talked about it really on here until this month. It is the LMS Superfood Glow Priming Moisturizer. This is infused with kombucha, which is kind of neat. But yeah, I've been using this really religiously over the past month because it has a shorter shelf life of 6 months. So I wanted to make sure I got my money's worth out of it. It is absolutely stunning, as you can see. It gives the most gorgeous glow. I really do love it. I've been wearing it under my makeup on an almost daily basis. I find not only does it bring a glow, but it also does bring a hydration to the skin as well, and it just wears really nice under makeup. So highly recommend this product. Honestly, I highly recommend a lot of products from LMS. I know they're a little bit more on the pricier side, but the products are quality in my experience. Next up is a product that I have done a review on in the past. If I can find it, I will link that video below, but it is the Makeup Forever Professional HD Skin Foundation. This one's in the shade 1 in 1-4. I do find that this runs a little bit deep in my opinion. Like, this shade is only really good for me when I have a tan and it's in like the light fair range. But I just wanted to say how much I'm enjoying rediscovering it. This is what I wore when I was on vacation and what I continue to wear when I came back. The formulation is just so lightweight, but you get that medium coverage, really blurring on the skin. It just, wow, my skin looked absolutely beautiful. This is definitely something that, yeah, I've used quite a bit of it. I don't know if you can see, but I'm down to about here. And this is something that I feel like if it matched my skin tone better on a more all-around basis, I would use all the time. Right now I have one other foundation that's a little older rotated in, but I think now that I have a little bit of tan going on, I'll rotate this back into my basket because it is phenomenal. If you can find a shade that works for you, I definitely highly recommend this product. And that's the thing too, guys. All the products that I highly recommend, I will list and link them below if you want to check them out. If I don't recommend them, I'm not going to waste my time linking them. People don't really use those links anyway, and it takes a lot of time to do that. So if I don't like it, I'm not going to list it. Speaking of don't like, the KVD Lock-It Foundation, I hated this. One, it is so thick. Like cakey thick. I could not get it to blend out, spread out, whatever you want to call it. I could not get it to not look cakey on my skin. This also oxidizes really bad, which is I don't like products that oxidize. I just don't. It just makes them so finicky to work with. Like the one I have on today is an oxidizer, and I don't know if I'm gonna keep it because it's just one more thing I have to worry about while trying to find my shade match. It's not only like, oh, well, it matches me right now, but it's gonna oxidize and it won't. Like, I just don't like doing that. So I really just did not think that this was good. I know it used to be a cult classic, but yeah, not for me. So definitely wouldn't recommend that. The next product is the Huda Beauty Cream Kohl Liners. I have both of these. They were gifted by Huda. And what I will say is these don't, in my experience, they did not work well on the eyelid trying to smoke them out. I didn't have luck with that. Like I couldn't get them to like blend out or smudge. So I think that they're not good for their intended purpose. But the black one has become a new holy grail in my waterline and my tight line. Like it's what I'm wearing today. Its lasting power in the waterline is so impressive, and the black is so rich. I love it. So worth it. Highly recommend. Unfortunately, I'm not a fan of the brown one, and that's not because of like the formula. I just don't like how warmer tone browns play in my waterline with my eye color. They with my eye color, it makes them look like red, like I have a red line. So yeah, I mean, great for waterlines if you like the shades. Did not have a good experience with smudging. The next product is the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin blush in the shade Bellini. And I'll show you guys a swatch. Super bright, super pigmented, really pretty shade, very balmy, kind of like a stiff texture. I tried this a couple different ways with the brush, with the sponge, with my fingers, and I don't think that the formulation is bad per se. I just don't think that it's my preference. When I get it onto my skin, it looks and feels dry, which I think this is like a more matte finish product, but it almost looks as though it removes my foundation and then there's just like a sheen of a light coloring of the blush. Like, I don't know. It just looks weird on me. It doesn't work for me. It's too matte looking for my preference. I think that there are definitely people that would love this. Actually, I know people that love this. But for me, I just think it was more of like a preference thing, and I really did not like the way that it looked on my skin, if that makes sense. Next up, I want to do a couple products that I don't have here in front of me, just like don't forget about them. The first one is the Rare Beauty Mascara. I did recently empty this. It was a mini, and I believe I talked about it in my empties video, which I don't even know if that's gone up yet, but essentially this was okay. I didn't think it was revolutionary. I didn't think it was terrible. I did experience some flaking with it, and it kind of struggled to hold a curl, and it just didn't give me as much wham bam as I typically like. So I know a lot of people love it, but it just wasn't meeting those check boxes for me. So it's not something that I would repurchase or recommend. The next one is the Lawless Plumping Lippy. I got this in Skeepers as well, and I hated it. I did not think that it hydrated my lips at all. In fact, I felt like it was very drying. I did not notice any kind of plumping effect at all. It really was just like a dry lip balm. I don't know. I hated it. I decluttered it. I thought it was terrible. So definitely would not recommend that. Next up, I have the Natasha Denona Glam Face Palette. This is the deep one that I got for Christmas, and I really have kind of just now had time to really play with it, formulate my thoughts, and just dig in. So, obsessed. I actually think I like this one more than the light palette. It's just, it has so much more depth and dimension, and these kind of tones really play well with my eye color. I didn't have any issues blending the deep mattes. They all worked beautifully. These shimmers are just top-notch gorgeous, and they play really well with one another too on the eye. They're just stunning. The highlight, and I lost my train of thought there. I was worried it would be too dark, but really if you get it like good and sheared out, like it can kind of work. I used it on the brow bone and I really liked it there. So that was the only kind of for me. Like it can definitely serve a purpose, but it's not like a smash hit. And then the blush is absolutely stunning. This shade is just beautiful. I really, really love it. So yeah, this was a home run for me. Highly recommend. Like I said, I almost feel like I like it better than the light palette, which was like top for a while. But I think that I just like the, sorry, I'm trying to open them both so I can show you guys and you can kind of have a comparison if you're trying to decide. But I just think that the depth that the dark one offers is really just a game changer for me. I do love the blush in here, obviously, and the shimmers. Like, I've used this a lot, so I like it, don't get me wrong. But I think if I had to pick, I probably would just pick this one if I was trying to decide. So yeah, really, really beautiful product, and I'm happy that I have it. Next up, we have the Ole Hendrickson Banana Bright CC Stick. This is a shade Apricot, and I've actually really been enjoying this. I'll swatch the shade out for you a little bit so you can see that orange right there. It does a really nice job of correcting my under eyes. It is really soft, blendable, and wears really beautifully under concealer. I have definitely found myself loving this. I do still love the e.l.f. corrector just because I really like the dry down of it. But if you're looking for a little bit more of a creamy corrector, I think that you would really, really love this one. I mean, I have enjoyed it, obviously. So I like that one and I recommend it. All right, next up, I have a product that I got from Ace Beauté. This was in the March Ipsy or Boxy, I can't remember. And this is the Ultimate Sculpt and Face Palette. It's kind of a tough one to get open. This is what it looks like. And I will say, I wish they would have done duos. So just like this duo and then that duo. Because unless you're a makeup artist, realistically, you're not going to be able to use all 4 of these shades. The way that I thought I could potentially use them, I mean, my collection is big, so I'm not gonna do this, but if you had a smaller collection, I could see you doing an eye look with these creams and setting it with like translucent powder to create a look like that with the creams as a way to get a use out of it. But I just think it'd be a lot more functional if it were duos. And I hope that if they make this a permanent item, they do that because these creams are beautiful. I actually had to, I don't want to say make myself, but I had to be like, okay, let's put it down and use something else because I was using the crap out of these. They are stunning. These 2 shades work beautifully for me. This one is a little warmer. This one's a little cooler, but like they can be used, I wouldn't say interchangeably, but they work really well together and I've enjoyed them. They blend effortlessly and they are long lasting. So yeah, I love this. Maybe it'll be like in the new Ipsy drop shop that you could snag it for like a heck of a deal. But yeah, I absolutely love this. I think it is phenomenal. Next up is another product that I received from the March Ipsy Boxy situation. It is the Wander Beauty Getaway Eye and Face Palette. And I can't remember if I did a reel doing a look, but I have done a couple looks with this. And overall, I think the quality of all of it is good. Like, I think the bronzer is nice. It's a good shade for me. And I really surprisingly enjoyed the blush. I don't really wear powdered blush, but I was really feeling this powdered blush. And the only thing I didn't really like was the highlighter. I felt like it was very textury, but it could be something used on your brow bone. The shimmers are just beautiful. The mattes, they work best when you apply them directly onto a primer instead of setting them. But for me, they really just, why didn't they include a dark matte? Like this could have been like the travel palette for me, but there's no dark matte. And this is not, I tried. This is not deep enough for my preference to create a darker outer corner or even a liner. So really it just missed the mark in being like the complete full package because we don't have a dark matte, which really sucks. It actually, spoiler alert, I am going to declutter it just because without that deep matte, I'm not going to reach for it because I'm going to have to reach into something else. And I know that I will have to reach into something else. The same with if I were to take it for travel, I would have to bring something else because I need a dark matte. So that was like kind of a bum, but overall this was beautiful. And if you're someone who doesn't need a deep matte to do looks, like that's not your preference, I think you would love this, and it is really, really good. So definitely recommend that. I also have another product from Huda. It is their concealer. This is the Fox Filter Concealer, the matte one. I have actually kind of a lot of shades of this. I was really fortunate and the brand kind of sent me an array of them. And I have reviewed this in the past, and that review is still pretty consistent. So if I set this with a powder, or if I don't set it, it creases a lot. I found the only powder that, where is it at, that this works with is the Huda Beauty Easy Bake. This has to have this in order to work. So at least in my experience, whenever I've used this with any other powder, I get horrendous creasing, but when I use it with the Huda Easy Bake, there's no creasing. Like it's literally some kind of witchcraft. So yeah, really like this. If you have the Huda powder, then I would recommend it. But if you don't have the Huda powder, then I wouldn't, because I just experienced so much creasing without the Huda powder in tandem. So yeah, that is my thought on that. Did I already talk about this? Okay, no, I haven't talked about this. So this is the Huda Beauty Easy Bake Powder. This is the shade Pound Cake. And I was recently sent this by the brand. And like, I feel like this has been really talked about for a long time, but I'm just now getting around to trying it. And it is fabulous. Fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. I have kind of been using this one non-stop since I got it. I have the shade Pound Cake, which is okay for me now when I have a little bit of a tan. When I was a little fairer, it was a little deep. But overall, in terms of quality, it does a really nice job at setting the under eyes and not looking cakey. Setting the face, it is beautiful as well. It's a really finely milled powder. And yeah, you guys, I love it. It has a really nice little sifter in there. And yeah, I have really been enjoying this. And I'm not really a powder gal, but this is like making me want to be a powder gal. Like, I just think that it is so stinking good. Next up, I have a product from Dior that I've had for a while. It is the Cool Neutrals eyeshadow palette, and I finally have the time to really just play with it and get my thoughts. So I wanted to share them. First of all, this shade here, trash. I don't know if they're wanting it to be like a cream shadow or a primer. Okay, primer, yeah, it says, literally says on the back. But so that is supposed to be a primer, and I filmed a video, I forget which one it was, where I was using this and it looked awful with the primer underneath. Like I had to take it off my eye because it created so much texture. It literally looked disgusting. And I tried it again a second time because I was like, maybe I should apply it with my finger instead of a brush. Same thing, looked so gross. So for that reason, now instead of 9 shades for $50 some, you're now gonna be getting 8 shades. So in my personal opinion, this one isn't worth it to me. I enjoy it, but it's not something I think that you should run out and grab right now. Kind of just want to give you my thoughts on it so you can like decide for yourself if it would be for you. But the primer is really just terrible. The mattes blended really easy, super great to work with. I have literally almost no fallout. The shimmers are really beautiful. They are, I expected them to be less intense, but they actually showed up really beautiful on the eye. They're almost like a baked formula. They're definitely a little bit different than I was expecting, but they're really beautiful. Overall, I have loved every single look I've created with this. And like I said, while I do enjoy it, I don't think you need to run out and grab it. I think that if you like this kind of color story, you would enjoy this. It is a very purple toned, cool tone leaning palette. And that's my favorite kind of cool tone, is a purple tone, baby. So yeah, I really like this. I will leave it linked below. I think if those things sound good to you, I think that you would enjoy this. Like I said, I don't think you need to run out and grab it, but if you've been eyeing it, I do think it's good, besides that primer shade, which is just embarrassing. The last two items I wanted to review quickly for you guys are the Huda Beauty Matte Obsessions palettes. I did receive both of these from the brand. We'll do the warm tone palette first. I have shared some reels creating looks with both of these over on IG if you want to see some looks with them. But essentially, I'm not a fan of this one. I just think that it kind of comes down to a preference thing for me. Once I get this swatched out, I'll show you over here. This palette is very, very orange and very repetitive. Like, you know, almost like these three shades here, those look pretty much identical on my arm. And then the same with those two, they're almost identical on my arm. There really just like is not enough variety and depth with this one for my preferences, and the colors just aren't my preference either. I also struggled with the mattes in this one a little bit. The mattes were a little bit more on the patchy side, which I didn't experience with the other palette. So I don't know, this one was just a miss for me and I don't recommend that one. The one that I did enjoy though is the cool toned matte palette. This is more my speed and colors, and I'll put a photo over here of swatches, but there are several looks on Instagram as well, and I actually got more depth, dimension, and variety out of this than I thought that I would. I was quite impressed by the color palette and the differences in my looks. I wasn't expecting that. I didn't have any problems blending any of these products. The mattes blended beautifully. The only thing I will say, she does have a new formulation in here, and it's her cream formula, and it's this one and this one, which they look, you know, beautiful. However, the lasting power on them wasn't it. I was kind of hoping that these would be similar to the Natasha Denona cream to matte formula, because that one is so good. But this one missed the mark. While it blended out beautifully and looked good, the wear time is not there with the creams. I was creasing around 4 hours. So for that reason, I would definitely not recommend this at full price, because you have two shadows that aren't gonna give you longevity. But I think if you could find it on sale, it is really pretty, and I did create looks with it. So if it's something you're interested in, I do think the mattes perform well. It was just the creams that really missed the mark for me there. So I'm kind of in the middle. Like, I don't think, knowing what I know about the creams, I wouldn't go out and purchase it, but I'm happy to have it. So I hope that kind of helps. But yeah, that is all. I tried to make this pretty quick, but as in-depth as possible. those are all the products that I was able to really test and review during the month of March. I will do a similar video in April. Like I said, these are a monthly occurrence and I really enjoy them. If you enjoy them, hit the thumbs up button. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you all in the next one. Bye.